I think it's the FAQ URL that we need.
Yeah, got it. Okay.
Yeah.
So I think this is what we wanted to go from top to bottom.
Pretty much, yeah.
Cool. Let's do it.
Cool.
Okay, so number one here, I've listed all of the new certificates which are being added to the ledger design for Conway. We've got quite a list here. There's a lot going on. First two are just a new way to register and unregister a stake key. Yeah. The reason there has to be new ones is because they take different parameters. Because now obviously protocol parameter changes are going to be more likely. So the registration certs need to take that into account, and the ledger can like validate the correct value is being paid for the deposit and then refunded. Yeah.
So when you get the deposit refunded, is the deposit that you paid or the current deposit value based on parameters? Because if you deposited, I don't know, to ADA, but then changed to 1.5 ADA, you get how much you put in, I guess.
Yeah, you get how much you put in, and the new certificates let you specify that. So yeah, you can't lose money. It's okay.
Good to know.
Yeah. Okay. Next one down.
Okay. So, by the way, just to contextualize, these two are the ones that are the new ones, and these were the old ones that are going to be deprecated, but will still work at least on the first stage of Conway.
Yeah.
Is that my understanding?
Conway. Yeah, they're working Conway. But
will we still be able to create these though?
Yeah. Yeah. Of course.
Yeah. Okay. So
so the old ones are still going to be around. You can still use them in Conway, but post Conway they'll be deprecated. So probably good to stop using them.
So just to be clear, you mentioned there's an initial Conway initial fork into Conway, and afterwards there's sort of like a secondary that puts it in full effect on the governance level. Is it at that stage that you're saying that we won't be able to use these anymore, or is it post Conway?
Post Conway completely, yeah. So there'll be, as you said, there'll be the hard forking for Conway. These will still be valid, and then there'll be an intra-era hard fork to turn on all the governance features. These old stake registrations will still work, but then the next big major hard fork, the big protocol upgrade after that to whatever era that's called, they'll probably be deprecated. Yeah.
Cool. Thank you.
Cool. We have vote deleg cert. So yeah, this is a delegation to a DREP, so mapping your stake credential to a DREP ID. Pretty easy. And then the next the next four, what I've been calling combination certificates. These are weird, and I think honestly, I don't really know what ledger team have added these, but they have. So these essentially do multiple things at once. That's why I've been calling them combination. So instead of doing two certificates, you can just do one. Maybe it saves a small amount of transaction fee on the data. So great. But yeah, you can read what these do. The naming is kind of confusing and awkward, but that's how it is. Probably not worth diving into them specifically. Okay, cool.
It's cool.
Yeah, so I don't really suspect these to be used that much either. So I don't see much value in having combination certificates, but whatever.
Okay.
I was looking at them.
Yeah.
I believe those four are not even supported on Ledger, if I'm not mistaken. They don't seem to be in the JSON.
Yeah, they don't. Yeah, so that's a good point. I should have mentioned that. They're not supported on the hardware wallets at all. The team decided when we implemented it I've got my hardware wallets here. Decided, there's not much point implementing these. So they didn't.
Fair enough, because we're looking at the implementation. I was confused why there's a gap in there.
The next two down, constitutional committee related certs. So these are probably going to be quite rare on chain. Most wallets won't support these. These obviously constitutional committee certificates aren't supported over SIP 95 because do we really want the constitutional committee, which is like kind of like new Genesis keys? Do we want them to be using light wallets? Probably not. So I didn't support them. Alex.
So I think I'm a bit confused. What is the Constitutional Committee and who decides what is the Constitutional Committee?
Yeah, that's a great question. So yeah, the Constitutional Committee were added to CIP 674 as like a check and balance on DREPs, and to enforce the Cardano Constitution, which is a document that will be an interim document. So the plan for the Constitution is there'll be an interim document which has been worked on by IOG. That'll be released at some point this year, and then there'll be following workshops, community workshops all around the world for community input on that constitution, and to build a real, final, legitimate constitution based on the interim one. The role of the Constitutional Committee is to rule if a governance action is constitutional or not. So based on the rules within the constitution, all they can vote yes or no on the governance action. So maybe I do a treasury withdrawal to steal loads of money from the treasury to buy an island, right? Like that will clearly not be constitutional because it's not, the constitution is going to say stuff like, you should act in the best interest of Cardano. And buying Ryan an island is probably not in the best interest of Cardano. So the Constitution Committee there to check and balance on the DREPs and to enforce the Constitution. They can be removed at any point. So the DREPs actually vote the Constitutional Committee in and out. So if the DREPs don't like how the Constitutional Committee are working, they can do a vote of no confidence, which removes all of the Constitutional Committee from their powers, and then new ones have to be voted in. And as well, DREPs and SPOs can vote in single members, or can vote to add a single member or remove a single member at once. So the Constitutional Committee is completely governed as such by the DREPs. So if the DREPs don't like what the Constitutional Committee are doing, they can all be removed. Does that explain it?
Okay, and now can we explain those two certificates? Because even though maybe they're not that relevant for the hot wallet, if we're doing cold wallet implementation, we still have the review screen, so we need to know what they mean.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, so authorized hot certificate. So in the ledger design, the Constitutional Committee members are represented by 2 credentials each. So they have a cold credential and a hot credential. It's just like a security thing. You can reauthorize a new hot credential. So the hot credential is used for voting. So day-to-day stuff, the CC member could keep their hot credential, in a more accessible place, less secure, and they can just vote with it. So they lose that key, they can then reauthorize, using their cold key, reauthorize a new hot key. And that brings me on to cold key, which is used to, all the cold key does is authorize a hotkey. That's all it can do, or resign. So a CC member could resign, and they do that with the cold key. Yeah.
But otherwise, they're technically speaking just 2 different wallets. So in a sense, they're just similar credentials. They're just for different purpose, the way it's registered. But otherwise, there's no ledger-based difference.
No, there's not. No, they're both ED 25519 keys or script hashes. Like they're just normal credentials. Yeah.
Okay, so it's cold or hot just by the user.
Well. Yeah. And so the authorized hotkey authorizes authorized hot credential authorizes the whole one, and resign cold credential is if the CC member wants to leave the committee, they can use their cold credential and resign. So the last 3 certificates on here are the DREP ones. So registering yourself as a DREP, unregistering yourself as a DREP, or retiring, and updating your DREP. So updating allows you to add a new governance anchor. So when you register, you can give an anchor. So you can point to some off-chain metadata, similar to how stakeholders do it. Say, hey, I'm Ryan, I'm going to vote for protocol parameter changes or whatever. Maybe you want to update that, and then you could use the update DREP cert to do that. And I could point to a new anchor, which is my updated name or my updated whatever. That's the certificates.
I see. One just minor question still regarding the committee ones. So I guess both of those certificates are actually signed by the cold credential.
So if we scroll down to the next table, I list how each of these are signed and stuff. Go a little bit further down, maybe Lucas, and then you can see the credential ones. There you go, there they are. So the authorized hot credential cert, this is signed using the cold credential, which is the third column over. And then the resign cold credential cert is also signed by the cold credential, and that's it. Obviously, the hot credential is only used to sign votes. But all of the certificates are signed using the cold credential. So yeah, this table just lists all of the signing credentials for each of the certificates. Certificates /votes /government actions.
Is the voting different for committee compared to DREPs? Like, is the voting transaction different? Like, how do?
Yeah, I mean, not really. No. Obviously, in a vote, so if you open a ledger design, when you submit a vote, that data structure you say what you are. So you say if you're a DREP, if you're SPO, if you're a CC member. So that's really only differentiation, because obviously the credentials are the same, or look the same on chain. So yeah, they do look different, and you can tell on chain if it's from a DREP, if it's from a CC member, if it's from an SPO.
So in terms of transaction building, where do you specify if you are voting as a DREP or as a committee member?
When you build the vote and put it into the transaction. Does that make sense?
So when you build a vote, there is a way to specify in what capacity you're voting.
Yeah, there's a field which you can then choose if you're a DREP, SPO, or CC member.
Okay, that was one of the new fields in the body of the transaction, like for the
So there's a voting procedure. So at the very bottom of the screen, it says voting procedure in transaction body, and then inside that structure, you say what voter you are, and then you map what governance action you're voting on. If you see that in bottom row in the table. And yeah, that voting procedure goes into the there it is. And that voting procedure goes into the transaction body. Well, it's actually a set of voters mapped to a set of governance actions.
Okay, that makes sense. On the other side, I really regret not having recorded this, because I'm really worried I may forget by the time I actually need to look again at it.
That's all right. You can always ping me any questions. I'm here to help.
Thank you.
This is everything we have. Also, in the far right column, it says about if there's a deposit being paid or a refund, and like how those deposits are returned, because deposits change now. So we used to always pay for like state key deposits and where else do we pay deposits? Wherever we pay deposits, they used to always be locked and paid back to a stake account, and you'd always get them paid back on the epoch boundaries. But now we can explicitly pay and refund them within transactions. Yes, Alex?
So when the DREP votes, they put a deposit, and you say that counts back in the transaction now at the epoch boundary?
So DREPs don't pay a deposit when they vote. They pay a deposit when they register.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Yeah, so when they register, so the way it works is, say the deposit is 2 ADA. When you register, you just add in 2 more ADA to the transaction balancing on the input, and then just take 2 less out on the output. And I believe it's been calling explicit deposits. And then when you retire, you just add 2 more ADAs to the output of the transaction, to your retirement transaction. And that's how you get it back. And so you don't have to pay it to a reward account. It's not calculated on an epoch boundary or anything like that.
Okay, well, that's the same with the registering for staking.
Yeah. That's the same for the new stake certificates as well. Cool. I think that's probably everything on the certificates. Maybe there's some interesting questions here. Proposal policy, not really relevant. Voting procedure. It's not implemented yet. Fair enough. What will be the maximum number of protocol parameter changes? A lot. Can one delegate to DREPs that do not exist? Yes.
Okay, that's interesting. So I was wondering when we were just talking about that. Sorry.
Yeah, exactly.
I think you can do that to the stake pools as well. Pretty sure you can register to a stake pool that doesn't exist.
Yeah, yeah, of course. Yeah, it's a bit of a weird part of the design that like the node lets you delegate to a DREP that doesn't exist or to a stake pool that doesn't exist. I believe the theory around it is, you could delegate to a DREP and then they could register within that, they could register and then the delegation is valid. Or alternatively, I could be delegated to you and you could retire and then I'm essentially delegated to a DREP that doesn't exist. So that's the reasoning behind that. But.
So it's not enforcing the referential integrity and all that. But that's when we were just talking about like deposits and funding and deposits being returned and etc. I was wondering like how self-driven is this, and like for this to happen, there's some transaction needs to be triggered, right, on the epoch boundary. So this is sort of like an event where the blockchain actually produces transactions. Is that it?
Yeah, so kind of like obviously, this is a bit in the weeds of how Cardano and all Wars works. But we have stake accounts, right? And I use the term account, so reward account, because it's account based. So on epoch boundaries, the ledger itself will move deposits around from the so-called deposit pot into reward accounts. So you could pay your delegating rewards, so your staking rewards on epoch boundaries, and that's done by the ledger design. It's not in a transaction because it's account based. So the ledger just like does it as such. Staking rewards are paid, deposits are moved back to people's reward accounts. I hope that makes sense. It's a really weird kind of mechanism, and maybe I didn't explain it too well, Alex.
Yeah, I get that, but so proposal procedure, that was when you propose a new on-chain, whatever, new
governance action,
governance action. Okay, so there is a deposit when you do that?
Yes. Yeah, so to submit a governance action, there'll be a deposit when you do that.
I mean, fixed?
No, it's a protocol parameter, so it can be changed.
Okay, but otherwise you don't just specify whatever you want.
No. I don't think no. It's not optional. Like you have to pay what the protocol parameter is, and at the moment the current recommendation for that parameter from the parameters working group is 50,000 ADA, which is very high. But apparently that's what people wanted. So there might not be many governance actions on chain if you have to pay 50,000 ADA. Obviously, you get the deposit returned. Obviously, at the end of if your governance action expires or is enacted, but that's a long time to not have 50,000 ADA.
Especially considering ADA could.
So it's returned. It's returned at the end of the epoch in which you put the proposal up.
No, so the proposal deposit will be returned when your proposal either expires, so maybe no one votes on it, it never reaches the threshold to be enacted or ratified. So when it expires, which is another protocol parameter, maybe it's 20 epochs or something like that, it'll just be the deposit will just be returned to your reward account. The other option is it receives lots of votes and people really like it. Great. It then becomes ratified, so it reaches all the thresholds needed to be ratified, and then will be enacted. And when it's enacted on the following epoch, you'll get your deposit back.
Okay, I see. Yeah. Well, in that case, maybe the documentation there for the deposit is returned at the end of epoch boundary should maybe be a bit more clear.
That should be more specific.
Epoch.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let me write that one down. Yeah. Good. Fair point. Deposit table. Cool. Yeah.
Should we just scroll down again to these other questions?
I think I have only one last thing, and I'm probably actually fully done with the questions. The treasury donation, what is the purpose of it?
Yeah, that's a great question. That's a really great question. So yeah, this is a new mechanism being added to the transaction body, and it allows people to donate ADA to the treasury, which sounds kind of weird. Like, why do you want to give away your ADA? But in the case of perhaps Catalyst, perhaps they take out X amount of ADA from treasury. They give out some, but maybe some of their projects they don't have to pay them because they never met their milestones. Then Catalysts are stuck with that money, right? It'd be really nice for them to be able to donate it back to the treasury, so they don't have to hold this random ADA which isn't really theirs. And a similar thing will happen in Voltaire, right? When, so say, there's a company, DC Spark or M Labs put a proposal in to say, hey, we're going to build a new version of Ouroboros. We need 50 million ADA. They take 50 million ADA, and then, the project doesn't work for whatever reason, and everyone resigns from DC Spark. It'd be really useful for them to just be able to give that money back to the treasury. And this is the mechanism for that. Yeah.
I see.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't expect it to be used too often, but it's probably quite nice to have as such. If we're just taking from the treasury, it'd be nice to be able to give back.
Yeah, on Catalyst.
I should definitely put a big warning if investor that's ever non-zero.
Yeah. That's a good point. That's a good point. Most people using a light wallet probably don't need to do this.
But by the way, does that create a possibility of sending junk to the treasury, like whatever tokens and all?
It's only ADA. It's only ADA you can send. Yeah.
Good.
Although it's quite an interesting idea of being able to send native assets. But no, it's not possible at the moment.
Yeah.
Can I put a negative value there?
No, it said positive.
You can't. No. Yeah.
That's a shame. That is a much better use.
I haven't tested that though. Maybe.
Should test it. Yeah.
I'm gonna.
By the way, there was one thing on a call where Sam was updating the SPOs and all that, and someone mentioned a dashboard about Conway testing and to track how the nodes are actually responding to all events or that type of thing. I'm not sure.
I don't think it might exist. I don't know.
Yeah, someone mentioned
you can't do a negative donation. I've tried it. No, I don't. There's not a dashboard that I know of. At least, no, I don't know of one.
Okay,
it could be, but
it's because like on that call they were saying that currently the nodes are almost fully compliant with Conway, and that eventually, as soon as they have that, they're going to start looking for green lights to go ahead with the fork.
Yeah. I mean, it's not a dashboard that I know of, but yeah, I agree with that sentiment. My understanding is that 95% of Conway's been implemented, I believe, probably maybe more, in these testnet nodes, which are on SanjaNet. But obviously, there's a lot of testing that needs to go on before they can become a full node release. So yeah, the implementation is basically done, but the testing is really only just starting. So
cool.
Probably, yeah.
Good to know. Yeah, we're just on the time. Alex, do you have any other questions for now? Okay, so let's keep it practical. I'm gonna share this recording with Alex, and maybe just like DM it to you both. It crossed my mind to share this kind of thing with CBIA as a teaser, or even as CBIA, especially this last one call. So yeah, if you agree with that, I'll just put this one on CBIA's YouTube.
Yeah, that's cool.
Thank you so much, and I'll see you on next Wednesday.
See you next Wednesday.
Cheers.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
See you.
Bye-bye.